Over on Channel 2 we have Sale of the Century, but now it's 9 p.m, and that means it's time for the Thamesmen.
Hello. Hello, the anticipation of that countdown.
Oh, it's so tough, isn't it? Well, hello, I'm George. I'm in Los Angeles.
I'm Alex. I'm back in Colorado. The Thamesmen on tour. I'm flying around the world.
Oh, collecting those miles.
Absolutely.
It's like a 1970s martini advert, isn't it? You're like, you'll be like in the airport, being decadent and glamorous.
Yeah, well, I was on a plane a couple of months ago, and you know how you save up your air miles so you can go first class or whatever. And then the curtain was there, and someone was behind the curtain, and they complained they weren't in first class. Do you know what the air stewardess did? She moved the curtain back behind him. She just undid it. I mean,
that's pretty smart.
I know.
I like that.
How belittling is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Oh, I've got the curtain now. Good, I'm in first class.
Look at you, plebs. Oh, hello, everyone. We're the Thamesmen, your kind of light reaction down the pub channel.
Yeah, we like to have a little bit of a chat. We listen to some music, and today we're taking the easy path, aren't we? We're just going. Everyone goes, "What's your opinion on the Beatles?"
I know we've had loads of replies, and we've got to do this because this is the very last Beatles track ever, right? And can you? In 2023, we've got a reaction channel reacting to the Beatles.
A new single from the Beatles.
Whilst the Rolling Stones are number 2 in the album charts.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it? You know, who'd have thought we'd seen this through all the way
no,
through? You know?
Actually, very sad to say, I do believe that's the state of the music industry, how poor it is now.
But we could discuss that later. But the Beatles is so iconic in that that anything they do is or anything that they could create is going to be of interest because they completely reshaped our industries, our worlds. You know, in terms of music.
Well, there's one theory of thought that the two big movements in music, one was in the 1500s, and the other one was in 1950 or 47 when rock and roll was invented. And since they were the two big movements, and since then it's been downhill. You know, classical music when Beethoven came through, and then obviously rock and roll. And there's been no other huge movements in music.
Ooh, controversial. That will stir some. Comments
yeah, but what about
down below?
What about Hawkwind? I hear you. I know what you're thinking. Hawkwind are geniuses. Yeah, but what about Osric Tentacles? Oh, I'm with you there. But the rest of them, whatever.
Exactly. So anyway, why don't we listen to the track
Yes.
and then we get a bit of a chat and see where we're going. So the track, obviously, if you've been living in a box and you don't know anything, it's called Now and Then, and it's the Beatles, and it was from some demo material that John had put together, if that was right, and they never got around to turn it into a full song, and then through the magic of technology, they've come back together to make this song.
Well,
right?
actually, they had the 3 tracks given by Yoko to the Beatles, and they worked on all 3, and then decided 2 were really good, and George Harrison just said, sorry, it's not a good track, and this 3rd one, and he went, but they did start recording it back, 25 years ago or something, and then Peter Jackson isolated just the vocals, which means you could then mix it, and so they had the guitar tracks already from the previous recording with George Harrison, so they mixed that in there and then redid it. So it was up to at that point George said, nah, it's not a good track, and the actual other Beatles said, yeah, I agree, it's not a great track, but apparently they've turned it into a good track.
All right, well, and this comes with a video as well, doesn't it?
Oh,
so yeah, I am. So are you ready, sir?
I am.
Okay, all right, so let's cue it up, and Beatles Now and Then. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
it's true. It's all because of you. And if I make it through, it's all because of you. And now and then, if we must start again, well, we will know for sure that I will love you. Now and then, I miss you. Oh, now and then, I want you to be there for me, always to return to me. I know it's true. It's all because of you. And if you go away, I know you'll never stay. Now and then, I miss you. Oh, now and then, I want you to be there for me. I know it's true. It's all because of you. And if I make it through, it's all because of you.
Wow.
Oh my God.
I feel quite like emotional.
So do I. That was epic.
It you know, I feel like something's missing from our world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, also John Lennon was so emotive always with his lyrics. He was always like, you know, in therapy himself with his lyrics.
Yeah.
And that was just magical. The video was as magical, if not more magical than the song.
Yeah, and honestly, like when the song first came out, I heard the song. Of course, you can't go around not, if a Beatles track comes out, not hear it. But I hadn't seen the video. I had not seen the video, and I think the video and that together just actually makes it 10 times, 100 times more powerful. Just to see them all sort of virtually together the wonders of technology to bring them back into a room playing together, and to see their different stages and their silliness and their, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and it just beautifully produced.
Unbelievably produced, and he's got a great hook in there and great chord changes in there, and typical Lennon lyrics as well. Just all about love. Even though, he had a hard time.
It was Giles Martin produced it, wasn't it?
It was Giles Martin who produced it. And I love the string arrangement. And
the string arrangement. So particularly that final note on the strings where it fades, that was, for me, amazingly a lovely touch.
Also, go back and listen to the bass line. Oh, my God. That he is such a great bass player. Such a great bass player. It was superb. Oh, yeah. I mean, just that video... as I say, going through it, you hark back to your own life, and and we were all young once, and imagine working on a track. That was the third track that George Harrison refused to work on because he didn't think it was that good, and yet they could produce that out of it. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, they can just make, I don't know, just such great musicians. They can make just gold out of anything.
No, it was truly a magic moment, and I mean, I think maybe, we were lucky enough to grow up in a part of the world, the Thames Valley, down the road from Henley-on-Thames, where George Harrison lived, and I don't know if I ever really appreciated the Beatles until later, because it was just like George Harrison, he's just down the road and blah blah blah. But then you travel the world, and I traveled through South America, and I traveled in America. The Beatles were huge, and they just influenced the whole world, and everyone was just, and I think as English people, maybe we took them for a little bit for
You're
granted.
absolutely right. And then on the musical front, and then obviously Alvin was friends with him, and then those who don't know, I've got a connection too. So he was on their album, or he was, and as he said, he just lives down in Henley, and it was like, we just took it for granted that the Beatles were always there, and he was just part of the scene,
Yeah. I love that track, and I definitely, it brought a tear to my eye a little bit, I must say, but it was great, absolutely brilliant, and hey, great to hang out with you and to listen and see that for the first time.
I know, and also, what a great track to sum up and say goodbye to the Beatles. The video of everything. What a superb song.
Yeah, Peter Jackson did a pretty amazing job, I thought. If there was one thing that was not ideal for me, was I love seeing John Lennon, but some of it, there was a lot of him being kind of very silly, and I don't know if that felt right at times. He was sort of jigging around, and and sometimes some of the footage of him being more serious would have been, I don't know, for me maybe a touch.
Nitpicking. Maybe they didn't want to turn it into an elegy of his death. You know what I mean? Maybe they just want to celebrate the Beatles as they were. Yeah.
That's true. That's very true. Good point. I accept that. Absolutely.
I'm not going to score it. I don't think we should score it.
No, you can't score the Beatles.
No, if you were scoring it, what would you score it? If you were scoring it, what would you score it?
You can't say anything. Beatles, whatever they do, they're a 10 for me. It's like, there's no critical point in that. Who are we to ever put any number against what a Beatles do?
You're absolutely right. Who are we? But if we were, then...
what would you do then? What would you do, brave man?
It will be the first 10 from the Thamesmen, because it's the last track of the Beatles, and,
for all it stands for.
Everything it stands for, 10. Don't care if you like the song or not. It's the last track of the Beatles, people.
Yeah, exactly. We got to. It's a wondrous world that we can be here to see that.
With the Rolling Stones coming in.
Hey, wouldn't it be cool to be around to see the first track of the Beatles, though?
All right, my friend. I'll see you on the flip side.
I'll see you on the flip side.
Take care.
I'm glad we did that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.